Welcome back to the regularly scheduled special meeting of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. It is 6:04. We are reconvening after a closed session. City Attorney, will you please take us out of closed session?
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council and public. The City Council met in closed session under item 2A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Orozco versus City of San Juan Bautista et al., California Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The City Council heard from the City Attorney and the city's outside counsel and considered some of the options, but there's nothing to report out.
Thank you very much. Public comment. Public comments are limited to items on the special agenda meeting only pursuant to California Government Code Section 54954.3B. If you wish to make a public on any item on the agenda, please wait for that agenda item to be called. And if you would please fill out a speaker card and present it to our city clerk. First off, we have a presentation from the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership, an update from Matt Huerta, who is the senior advisor for housing. Sorry, Matt. Welcome. You're up. We're taking public comment as items appear because it's a special session. Sorry.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry. We can hear you. Is your green light lit? Oh,
There it goes.
can you pass that down?
No battery.
Okay,
Is that better?
that's better.
Okay. I
get
knew something was up.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Now
Okay.
everybody can hear you, not just us.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Good evening, council members, for having us and for having me. I've lived in the region for a little over 20 years, and I love it here in the Monterey Bay. One of the privileges I have is to work with amazing people at the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. I have been part of that team for a little over 10 years. Our fearless leader, Tara Goraya, would love to be here this evening, but she couldn't make it. So I'll do my best to represent the organization and talk briefly about what's going on with the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. And I want to thank the city for being a member for so long here and being an active member. We see Mayor and many others, Ashley there, and Ariel's on our Housing Advisory Committee. So thank you very much for your partnerships for so long. It's very effective to be active members. So our first, we have a little bit of a slide deck. So here's a landing page, and it has our mission statement there to improve the economic health and quality of life in the Tri-County. So both San Benito County, Santa Cruz, and Monterey counties. Next slide, please. There we go. So just briefly, part of our strategic priorities involve really leveraging our state, federal, and philanthropic partners and our membership. We have about 80 members across the Tri-County, really cutting across all of the both public, nonprofit, and public sectors. And we're really trying to make sure that our economic and workforce development activities, you'll see there a long list. I'll go into just a couple of those bullet points in the following slides, but it's really about these four broad areas: economic, workforce, and development, housing for all, broadband and digital access, and innovation and technology. Next. And so actually next after that, did I skip one? There we go. We'll just start there. So I want to say that our Housing for All initiative will continue to really serve as a regional amplifier, helping housing projects secure supporters, navigate complex public processes, and move steadily toward approvals. Our team is directly engaged, showing up in public hearings, providing housing element implementation support, and reinforcing a housing production focused agenda. A major part of this work is education. We stay plugged into weekly statewide Home Builders Alliance legislative meetings. If you want to go to the next slide, there's just a bullet point list so folks can see that. We track Coastal Commission activities as well to ensure our partners have the most current information. We convene our Housing Advisory Committee meetings, roundtables, and mixers that bring stakeholders together across jurisdictions. During this election cycle, we will be helping our communities understand statewide housing propositions, what's on the ballot, why it matters, and how these decisions shape the future of our region. We're also advancing employer-sponsored housing, which is becoming a critical workforce strategy with many sectors, especially in ag, hospitality, education, and healthcare. Educator housing, in particular, is a growing need. We're supporting the San Benito High School District's proposed workforce housing initiative to create approximately 200 rental homes as part of their campus expansion project. That's hot off the presses. We just processed that endorsement this week. There'll be more on that in the near future. Next slide. Next after that, talk a little bit about broadband and digital access. Through the Central Coast Broadband Consortium, we've helped secure over $105 million in state and federal funding for broadband infrastructure and expanding access to high-speed internet across Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties. We're also working to ensure residents have the tools, devices, and skills they need to actually use and benefit from the internet. We're working on launching connected communities hubs in all 3 counties. These are fully equipped, inclusive broadband access and device hubs that will provide residents with reliable internet access and computers they will not otherwise have access to, as well as digital navigators who will offer additional support and assist residents with enrolling in low-cost internet plans. We're partnering with community-based organizations, libraries, senior centers, and other community sites to meet residents where they're at and make these resources accessible within the communities they already know and rely on. We've also launched free digital skills classes open to residents of all skill levels. Classes range from basic skills like navigating email and web browsers to intermediate and advanced topics like Zoom and other online applications, digital finance, marketing, and entrepreneurship, and AI. Residents can participate in-person or virtual classes, and we encourage anyone interested to visit our website to learn more about upcoming classes and how to sign up. Next, economic and workforce development. Next slide. Our economic and workforce development work continues to center on regional alignment and coalition building. Through Regions Rise Together, we're reaffirming shared priorities and coordinated implementation across 6 counties along the Central Coast. With the Regional Black Leadership Roundtable, we're strengthening the relationships and ensuring alignment with MBEP's mission. The Monterey Bay Tech Hub continues to deliver wins, multiple funded projects, and MBEP's leadership in CAMSI, the California Air Mobility and Corridors Initiative, and the Farm Robotics Challenge, an ongoing tri-county coordination that keeps our advanced technology ecosystem moving forward. And through Uplift Central Coast, we're advancing the state reporting and developing a cohesive regional marketing kit and providing technical support to Catalyst grantees. That was part of the governor's initiative over the last several years to increase jobs, well-paying jobs across our region in a very strategic way, tailored to our region. Next, on technology and innovation. Just a couple more minutes here. Our innovation portfolio continues to grow. We launched regional participation in the Farm Robotics Challenge, securing $263,000 in funding and engaging 4 high schools, including Hollister, Rancho Cielo, and Watsonville locally, and a community college. This is building a hands-on workforce pipeline for ag tech and robotics. At the federal level, we provided witness testimony on HR 5555, elevating the Central Coast's voice in national conversations around heritage, innovation, and economic development. Our work on CAMSI is progressing on schedule. The contract is executed, technical partners are in place, and the first deliverable has been submitted on time. A little bit more on CAMSI in just a second. We also submitted the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy to the EDA, the federal EDA, and completed an asset mapping study focused on precision and advanced manufacturing partners across the Tri-County region. Again, that was all in alignment with the state's jobs strategy and the governor's initiative. Next, the promise of CAMC. Next. Again, CAMC is a state-backed. We're really, really excited about this because of the innovative efforts here with CAMC. So, and also just fresh off the award here in the last year or so of $7.5 million. This regional initiative is advancing the future of air mobility. It's a multi-airport collaboration that integrates infrastructure, workforce development, innovation, and community engagement. The 4 target airports include Salinas, Marina, Watsonville, and Hollister. This initiative is building a foundation for responsible innovation, economic opportunity, and public benefit across the Monterey Bay region. Encourage you to find out more about that and your community's efforts to partner with us. Finally, we have a couple upcoming events I want to make sure to put on your calendar. On September 10th, next slide. On September 10th, we'll be hosting our first AI Summit, a premier regional gathering focused on how artificial intelligence is transforming every sector of our economy, whether we like it or not, from healthcare and education to agriculture, manufacturing, public policy, and business. AI is reshaping how organizations operate and preparing us for a new era of opportunity. We'll be joined by nationally recognized leaders from OpenAI, Lodi AI, the Hoover Institute, Stanford Law, and many other institutions. We encourage you to join us there. On November 6th, we'll convene our State of the Region, bringing together partners from across the Tri-County area. We look forward to partnering with you, working with you, and seeing you there at this annual event that brings together hundreds of our closest partners across the region. Finally, on December 4th, put that on your calendar. We all love a good holiday mixer. Love to see you there as well. Chance to celebrate our wins together and build our strengthen our partnerships. And that is it, unless there's any questions.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Councilmember Friels, Councilmember Morris Lopez, Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
I actually do have a couple questions. I took a picture so I wouldn't forget. Hold on. You were talking about the Farm Robotics Challenge
Yes.
and that you had engaged 4 high schools and 1 community college team. What high schools are those, and what programs are those high schools working with?
Yeah, so I don't have all the information in front of me, but I know that the 4 high schools were Hollister High, San Benito, Mark Richardson CTE, and Rancho Cielo, and Watsonville.
Okay.
And I can get you more information, and I'll make a note to make sure you connect with our program lead on that.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One question on SEDS. Is that Monterey County SEDS, or is that Monterey County, San Benito County, Santa Cruz?
It's all 3.
Okay.
Yeah. We're trying to make sure there's alignment across as much as we can and doing deep dives across each of the SEDS.
Very cool. So have you looked at San Benito County SEDS?
I have not particularly done a deep dive, but I know other members of our team have for sure. So Lavera or Tara could probably get in touch with you about any questions you
that'd
might
be
have
great.
about
Thank
that.
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you have any specific questions about?
No, I know that it's been mothballed since it was adopted and has just now resurfaced. I just want to know how we're all working together.
Great. And that's part of kind of our reason for being, is to make sure that is going to happen. So that's on our desk to help sort out. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Thank you. I'd like to now, if you can just hang with us for a moment in case there's any public comment.
Sure.
If anybody from chambers would like to ask questions, have we gotten any speaker cards?
No speaker cards received, Madam Mayor, and seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming, Matt. I appreciate you. Have a great night. Thank you. Consent agenda. There are 7 items on the consent agenda. Would any members of the council like to pull a agenda item for further discussion? Councilmember Freels.
I'd like to pull E.
E.
Echo.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I'd like to pull C.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia. Nothing. Thank you. I just want to make sure that. Who? I have C and E pulled already. Do you want to pull one? Oh, okay. Thank you very much. D. Would any members of the public wish to pull an agenda item?
E.
Thank you. None. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, F, and G?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made to approve A, B, F, and G by Councilmember Morris Lopez, seconded by Councilmember Freels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Freels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We are going to go in order. Councilmember Morris Lopez, order of agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
Development impact fee nexus consideration review and confirm the continuation of the city's existing development impact fees. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, so this item really jumped out at to my attention since been having talks about increasing our fees all the way around. And so I thought this was very interesting to me and concerning that we are not meeting the benchmark criteria to actually support increase in development fees. And I know that we have a gas station that's being built, which is a huge project that's been in the wings for a long time, and it's finally coming to fruition. We can all see it.
Really want to hear you. Can we turn whatever the air is off? Sorry.
Okay.
I
I'm talking loud.
I know you are. You're trying hard. I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, so.
Either. Thank
I'll
you
put
for
it
that.
back. So why I pulled this item, just clarification for the members on the dais and the public and staff, was that it jumped out at me because we've been talking about how we need to, we're behind in looking at our city fees. We balance our budget, but we obviously had not looked at our overall city fees for near 20 years. It was like since 2005, if I'm not mistaken, I think. And so reading this summary, reading what this Nexus study resulted in was no increase in impact fees. So I'm really concerned about that because we have a brand new gas station that's coming on board. We can see that at the Alameda and 156. We have some other projects that may or may not be known to the public. It's been in the paper, so I think I can speak to it. The now nonprofit local FQHC clinic in Hollister, San Benito Health Foundation, purchased land in our city and is looking to develop a clinic of some sorts or a health center there. So I'm really kind of confused as to how we're going to deal with not having impact fees increase to accommodate future projects. And the reason that they gave, I believe, was they don't see enough growth, if I'm understanding that correctly, to justify an increase. And I'm going to highlight something that I thought was very curious to me from the study, the group that did the study and gave it to the city. It said, here it is. Sorry, there's a lot of paperwork here tonight. And this was Matrix Consulting Group that did the Nexus, fee Nexus consideration review. And so I highlighted this and it was in summary. I don't know if anyone in the audience had a chance to review it. But in summary, it said, if you will humor me to read just two short paragraphs, the city of San Juan Bautista has already established impact fees. However, these impact fees were established in 2019. So once again, that's, what, coming on close to 20 years. And per AB, 7 years, and per AB 602 are subject to review. So we did review them. This is what the study is. As such, the city undertook this reevaluation as a matter of due diligence. Overall, after reviewing growth trends and internal planning documents, there is insufficient nexus to support an update to the city's impact fees. Because projected residential and employment growth through 2050 is minimal, the impact and our proportionally relationships required under the Mitigation Fee Act and the demonstration of new service level needs required under AB 602 cannot be reasonably established at this time. And then here's the last sentence to that summary. Should major developments or redevelopments occur, the city may consider negotiating development agreements to offset infrastructure or operational impacts rather than updating its impact fees. So as we all know, things have increased in summer in prices. You go to the grocery store, prices are high. You pay your auto insurance, your healthcare premiums jumped up, this is no exaggeration, 30%. Everything is increased. So to take this study and to be told that we shouldn't consider or can't consider increasing our fees, to me seems really counterproductive and dangerous because as we know, things will increase. So that's why I'm bringing it to the attention. And the other thing that I thought that jumped out at me was there was reference to, in the resolution itself, sorry for all the paperwork here. Well, it made reference to, and I'm going to just say it made reference to how they determined this in the resolution that we should agree tonight is in consideration of our general plan of 2035. That's another issue that is concerning to me because as far as I am aware, that general plan of 2035 that we have in our office, there was a contingency that we, as the Urban Growth Boundary Committee, I sit on that. And at one time, I believe, Councilmember Friels and currently Councilmember or Pro-Tem Mayor Sabathia sits on it. We are still waiting for determination to have that amendment to our 2035 plan. And as the plan sits now, we are not in agreement with that. So I cannot and wholeheartedly agree with this resolution because I don't think that has been updated. And also the fact that we are going to sit on not increasing impact fees with development when we know that a lot of times developers come to town, they get what they need, they get what they want, and the citizens are left and taxpayers left with holding the bag on many important infrastructure needs. And that's how I want to end my comment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager?
I'm going to let Ariel come up and explain the reason for Matrix's memo, because they did cite in their memo the reasons why growth plays a huge part in development. The city has to be able to show reasonable growth and that impact that development will have on the community. And so there are lots of state rules around that, and I'll let Ariel take a stab at it because I'm not as eloquent as she is on the topic.
I think you were very eloquent. So essentially, you addressed it right now. We have two projects, but other than those, we don't have very many other projects. And so when analyzing the future growth, you're looking at how many different developments would be coming through that would then put an impact on that specific resource. So for example, one is parks. And so how many new, users of that park that would create an impact that then would, go into that fee. And so because there wasn't enough new projects, enough new developments to warrant a significant increase and potentially it could decrease if, looking at just what is, existing, as of today. We, again, I think we put in here, but we could make it a little bit more clear that we would continue to evaluate, the future development. And I think one of the clear things that's in here is that if it's an existing building and they're just, they're using existing building, they're not going to have impact fees. It's only brand new development that's subject to impact fees. So does that help explain?
Partially, I'm still left with the question about in the section, I believe it's page 2, section 1 findings, is that letter A, consistency with the 2035 San Juan Bautista General Plan. As I stated, to my knowledge, we had an amendment to that plan with the findings and the MOU that we presented to the county with the urban growth boundary findings with our new boundaries and whatnot. So I don't believe that 2035 plan, to my knowledge, unless I'm mistaken, has been approved by the county. So you're basing this on something that we're not in agreement with, that we asked for an amendment with our new urban growth boundary.
Yeah, that's a great comment. So our 2035 is what's current existing. We're still working on a general plan amendment. Currently that amendment would reduce the sphere to approximately the city limits. So you're looking at existing empty parcels that have not yet been developed and what potential projects are on the horizon. So at this point, I mean, it would be even with that general plan amendment, you're still looking at what projects. It wouldn't change necessarily like our review. Our review is the projects that are potential for that new development. So
Because the plan, as I recall, it had a huge potential for growth outside of the city limits and beyond. And that was one of the things that we, as the Urban Growth Committee, worked on really hard for like the better part of what, 3 years? More than that? Okay. So that's why I'm having an issue with that being as a reference point, because that really is clearly not how the city voted to move on it, because it did come to council.
If I may interject,
Mhm.
the matrix evaluated, they're up to date on all of the city's plans. While the general plan probably I don't have the number in front of me for what they projected. I think those numbers are not projected here. If there's a growth projection chart here, I don't think those numbers are the same. And we can most certainly provide that information. But Matrix is well aware of the city's goals and plans
And the
for the
urban growth.
general plan
Mhm.
amendment. And they spent over a year with the staff looking at all of our policies, procedures, the
Maybe
council.
what I'm asking for, so that it's very clear, there's nothing lost in general terms, because as that is read, to me, if I didn't know, and I looked at the current plan that we have in our binder, and it's on filed with the county, then it includes an expansive swath of area for development. And we know that that's not what we intended. So maybe there can be an amendment to this statement here that states clearly that there is an MOU that's in the works pending approval by the county. And I really don't know why they still have not approved it. And I'm sure you don't know either.
I don't want to, that's a
And we
different
don't-
topic altogether.
Yeah,
We're
but-
talking about
No,
development
but
fees.
this is why I pulled the item. So I want to
Okay,
be
understood.
transparent for the public and Zoom and the
Yeah,
council members.
I don't want to mix topics because the
No.
sphere of influence and what's happening with the urban growth boundary is different from development impact fees. in the sense that we're talking about development, yes, I
Mhm.
understand what you're saying. But I think to Ariel's point, they're looking at development and what opportunities we have. And the reason this document is written this way is because there aren't very many on the horizon. And whatever development projects come before the council, we have to negotiate in the development agreement what resources and what things the city needs and what we're going to get from that developer. Not sure if that made much sense, but
Mhm.
ultimately, we're legally bound to charge certain fees. We have to
Mhm.
follow state guidance. If we can't show a growth projection, then we can't go after more money than what we've already been charging. So ultimately, whatever we ask for any upcoming new development, will have to go into negotiation. We negotiate, well, this was before my time, but the gas station development was negotiated with a development agreement.
Mhm.
Same process will apply for every development that comes before the city.
I understand that. I guess without getting in the weeds too much more about the urban growth boundary, but I see that you can't separate the two because they are connected. And that 2035 general plan is not what we were in agreement with, which can translate into potential development, which is how we could charge our fees and potential growth. So I think I've stated my views on that, and I won't belabor it anymore. Thank you.
We can address those comments and bring it back. I'll work with Matrix to kind of give you a clear response.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I'm sorry, that's not the consensus of the council yet because we haven't gone to vote. But and I appreciate your willingness to do that. But Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, do you have any comments on this?
I thought we weren't supposed to comment on things we didn't pull. Am I wrong?
No discussion?
I don't think I have any questions or comments. There was a lot that happened. When I read through this, it makes sense to me that if we don't have a lot of development support fees, why we couldn't go up. It's a little disappointing. Nobody likes that answer. I was kind of happy that it didn't go down. Like if if our current projects don't support our current impact fee levels, if somebody did some analysis there, math always swings two ways, and so I was just happy to see it not be advised or required to go down.
Yeah, and legally, AB 1600 and AB 602 say exactly that, that if we can't prove that there is a clear connection between new development and our infrastructure, then we can't do the study. And to your point at the very end, it says that we can come back and update them at any time. So with that, thank you very much. If I may have a motion. Sorry,
Did Councilmember Friels have any,
no, did you?
No, I know, I understand what, um, the problem with, I think the concern is nowhere in the state guidelines, there's no what ifs.
Right.
What if we grow or what
Yeah.
if we don't grow? There's no what ifs. It's cut and dry. So I understand that from my years as the fire chief, and it's extensive to prove, impact fees or increases of impact fees. It doesn't just something we don't do overnight. But no, I'm good with it. Thank you.
So if I may have a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, accepting the development impact fee nexus consideration review and confirming continuation of the city's existing development fees.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Friels?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. D, use of city property for banners and temporary signage policy. I just have two comments, and it's a verbiage thing, a language thing. Under the policy, page 2, section 5 for enforcement, unauthorized items placed upon city-owned property. It currently reads as may be removed by the city, consistent with, et cetera. I'm proposing that that language be shall be removed by the city. And it seems like a minor thing, but we seem to folks seem to ask forgiveness rather than permission, and I'm just asking that the council consider that permission is asked and before something happens, like a sign put up on a building or a park or a lamppost. And if something is there that's not put on by the city, that the city remove it until such time access is asked for. The other one is on page 3, section 7, protection of public infrastructure. The city may prohibit or remove installation. Again, a language thing. I would ask that the city shall prohibit and remove installations that damage property, interfere with maintenance, create. So it just makes it a little more, so we're not asking for forgiveness first, and that we ensure that our property is absolutely protected. Questions, comments, concerns? May I have a motion to approve with the added language, the resolution adopting a policy on the use of property for banners and temporary signs?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Council Member Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried as amended.
Thank you. City parks and facilities use policy. Councilmember Friels, you have the floor on this one first.
Thank you. I just want to start by saying I'm very happy that a policy is going to be created for our parks and facilities. And just for the general public, we're just to confirm with it from the city manager, we're talking about Veruti Park, Abbey Park, and the community center. That the pretty much the only ones we control.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Can I interject? We have Luck Park.
Other facilities, but it's both parks and facilities.
Parks and facilities,
Yes.
but we don't, do we have people, I guess we do have people who could rent out the one out.
Any
further.
facility or park that it would
Okay.
be rented.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we got that clear.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm happy to hear this. For years, our our parks and our facilities, there, it just seems to me there's never been any type of cut and dry in stone policy, and it's been frustrating because, you know, I'll walk by the community center and it's, you know, after a weekend of partying in the community center and the streets are pigsties, there's garbage everywhere, or there's, you know, a Sunday party at Veruti Park, and there's, you know, 150 people out there that I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to it. I probably should, but I don't know if anybody actually reserved it. And I know that's kind of splitting hairs, but, you know, what if somebody else wanted to use the park or just, and then finally with the ballpark, the ballpark's just been a mess lately as far as seems like warring factions that want to use the park. And we lost a little bit of control on our park back when, and I'm not bagging on Little League, but back when Little League came into the city, a lot of some major changes happened to our park. Mainly the fence was moved from the existing location and moved into a Little League configuration. That kind of took our ballpark out of the fast-paced softball league capabilities, Babe Ruth, and even senior Little League or even senior softball leagues, at least I would think. I'm happy to hear that we're going to have cut and dry, and I read through this, the reservation principles. It seems like we're constantly changing keys to the ballpark, and then some of the like maintenance and fees and appeals, and enforcement. Maintenance, our parks, the only people should be maintaining our parks is city employees, is the city, is our public works guys. Nobody else should be planting, changing any of that. And a lot of that's liability issues. And this is a deep pocket state. So, if somebody gets hurt or in trouble out there, then we're going to get sued too. And this stuff needs to stop. I like the enforcement part. If somebody violates this stuff, then, hey, if you don't follow this new guideline, then you don't get to use the park or the community center. Our public works guys they're spread thin as it is, and they don't need to be fixing stuff and cleaning up after folks when they're fully capable of doing it themselves. As far as some of the language, I'm not too concerned about it. There is, I think and this might be splitting hairs, it says residents and non-residents. First it says individuals, residents, non-residents. I think that residents of the city limits should have some type of priority over our parks since, well, we pay for it. And then if an individual is a city, is a city resident, then of course that individual would have a priority over, a non-resident or group or a civic organization from, let's say Santa Cruz County. And that park's in 10 years, it's going to be 100 years old, and people have paid a lot of money into maintaining it. And that's my hope, and and I've been asking for this for 6 years now, that we do some more work to our park, and I'm just to our ballpark. Rudy Park looks fantastic. Minnow's been doing a wonderful job on it, and our community center has been holding up. But thank you for bringing the policies. Let's just get this finished. Let's move on. There's more. There's a whole lot more irons in the fire, I'm sure, for staff, and staff's probably getting a little tired of fighting with folks about our parks and our facilities. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Michael Ponce also pulled item E. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. No disrespect to whoever wrote this resolution, but I think it's sloppy and vague. Where is the 1966 waiver restriction and deed for Abbey Park? It should be in the packet. It's not in the packet. It's a very important document. First and foremost, these parks and facilities are owned, maintained, and paid for by the residents of San Bautista. On number 2, applicability states this policy applies equally to residents and non-residents. Again, no, residents pay for the parks. They should have priority over the non-residents. Number 3, policy objectives E, should have a date to submit reservations for the year, for the yearly programs. Number 4, administrative authority, establishing operational procedures. Where are they? You shouldn't vote on something you don't know. There's no operational procedures done. There's nowhere in this packet. Reservation principles, A, should say priority should be given to San Juan Bautista uses that, etc. B, free Junior Giants program should be in there somewhere. One of the only major summer youth programs the city provides. D, what is the objective criteria? Nowhere to be found in this resolution. H, reoccurring reservations. Does this council support the free Junior Giants program? Every year it is made available through the San Francisco Giants Community Fund. Junior Giants program should be in there somewhere. City manager or designee may establish application deadlines. Where are they in the resolution? Is nowhere to be found. Number 8, maintenance. Motorized vehicles should be allowed to drag the field. Small ATVs, riding lawnmowers, golf courts. We got to prepare the field before we use it. Number 9, fees should establish, and I've been trying to say this for a long time, should establish an Abbey Park enterprise fund. So all the fees that we get go back into the park to refurbish it. It needs work. Number 10, appeals. What are the administrative procedures established pursuant to this policy? Again, nowhere to be found in any of this package. Number 12, administrative procedures. City manager is authorized to develop administrative procedures, standing operator procedures, etc., necessary to implement this policy. Should have these now, not after the fact. The council is voting blind. There is no policies, no standing operating procedures anywhere in this packet. So you don't know what you're getting. I think this is a good start, but it's vague. I think it should be cleaned up and brought back. In reference to Abbey Park, I think the council and the city should and has an obligation to honor the intentions of Frank A. Abbey, a recreational park for San Juan Bautista first. Thank you. Made it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Questions, comments, concerns? Councilman. I already went to.
All right. Yeah, I was also looking at this and really wanting to make sure that it was stressed that if there's going to be a reoccurring permit or application, that because Junior Giants has been so integral in that use of the park and it's a huge thing for the community, that somewhere that we can allow that. Also priority, like everyone stated here, and I believe feels priority to local residents. And I do believe that I'm curious about why this successors pulled the responsibility and control of the park from the service club, because I thought the service club was involved with it heavily now. So I'm not quite understanding why all of a sudden this now came up. Where was it dug up from? Why is it now an issue? As the service club does a lot of volunteerism in the community. So I'm just kind of, and for me, the more volunteers that we get, we should embrace that. This almost seems like, and this is no insult to anybody, but kind of like a slap on the wrist, like, we are not going to do this anymore. You guys don't have that. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd. Because we want volunteerism from community members. I think they should be respected. They should be encouraged with engagement. And then the thing too is, like, there is general terms here, like where's the policy and how you, policies, as Mr. Ponce had said, and I was looking for those in the packet as well. How you go about scheduling, just a little bit more detail on that. So that's important to me. And what are the fees? And I'm assuming all parks are Verudi Park. This park says recreational park. So I always known it to be a baseball park, but I guess that's okay for soccer or any other activities. That would be great. I don't know if you want to list that, what can be done there, because some people might take that as an open call to do whatever. I don't know, ride their dirt bikes there. It's recreation. I don't know. So, just a little bit more clarity on that. Other than that, I think it's, yeah, it's time that we have policies for this park and preference to local residents.
Thank you for that. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
The one comment I have is Junior Giants is a city function. So it is established as a city group. So they're implied here. Junior Giants is not going away. The city oversees that program. I'm okay with, I don't know if I'm okay with, I could be okay with individuals. We do have fees already outlined in our fee schedule for this. I do not think that these are sloppy, nor are they vague, and I appreciate all the work that the city has put into all of these policies. They are some of the best policies I have seen in a very long time, and I appreciate that. Thank you. At some point, we have to allow the city to do their job. It is a city, it is city property. We have discussed already how if somebody abuses our property in any way, shape, or form, that they will be held accountable for it. So there is policy on that. That's all I have. So with that, may I have a motion to approve a resolution adopting the City of San Juan Bautista's park and facilities use policy and authorize the city manager to administer city park and facility reservations in accordance with the adopted policy?
So moved.
Thank you. May I
I'll
have a
second.
second? Thank you. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. With that, action items. Historic downtown revitalization strategy, economic development priorities. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Thank you to our city planner, Ariel Goodspeed. You have the floor.
Hi, it's really my pleasure to get to come up today and talk about everything we've done since the last time we met. And this item is really a policy discussion regarding historic downtown revitalization strategy and identifying the economic development priorities. So tonight, staff's really seeking direction. And this is not an approval of any program this evening. Next slide. So to kind of frame out what the purpose of tonight is, we went and heard from the community. We discussed the city's economic development goals for historic downtown, and really we're looking for City Council to identify 3 to 5 priorities for staff to develop in the future. And any selected priorities we would return later with budgets, timelines, analysis, or ordinance amendments, depending on the item. Next slide, please. So for this discussion, there's a lot of different definitions of economic development. And so what does that mean here for the city of San Juan Bautista? It really means strengthening the vitality of the historic downtown. It means supporting our existing businesses, attracting complementary businesses, increasing tourism activity, encouraging investment, and preserving the historic character that really makes San Juan a gem. Next slide, please. So there was two main tools that staff use to reach out to the community. The first was the Downtown Economic Development Survey, and then the second was a business community listening session that was held yesterday evening. The themes from both were consistent: stronger tourism, better business support, clear city processes, public improvements, and then continued collaboration with the business community. Next slide. So I'm just going to kind of go over some of the survey results that were collected from businesses and owners, residents, employees, and other stakeholders. And then we'll kind of get into some of the results from the listening session yesterday evening. Next slide. So on here, you'll see a graph, and it really is just saying, you know, who responded. And so it was a mix, and you did have an opportunity to say I'm both a resident and a business owner. So that's why you see how many, but it was really a mix of residents, business owners, property owners, and other stakeholders. It's just important to understand, you know, who was really responding to the downtown revitalization effects for both the business community and then the broader public experience. So challenges. What did our residents, what did our business owners say are some of the challenges in this survey? They really centered on permitting and regulatory hurdles, the cost, the rent, attracting customers. These responses really aligned with what staff had heard informally from the businesses about the difficulty of opening, operating, and expanding the downtown. Next slide. Additionally, they identified business support and streamlined permitting as the city actions with the greatest potential impact. This reinforces the need to focus limited staff capacity on practical improvements that help businesses move forward. Next slide. Vision. The strongest vision response was a balanced combination of looking at our historic character, food, culture, family-friendly experiences, and visitor activity. So this really just suggested that the community does not want a single-use downtown. It wants a complete, authentic, and active historic downtown. Next slide. The most requested business types were food-related and experience-oriented, so restaurants, bakeries, coffee, dessert shops, wine and brewery concepts, artisan, bookstores, entertainment, and historic-themed businesses. So again, this is really supporting a longer visitor experience in our downtown. So incompatible business types, what respondents raised concern on was that they believe may not fit in the downtown character was some thrift or fast food or visually incompatible concepts. The theme is not opposition to business growth, but a desire for compatible businesses that strengthen the downtown. Next slide. There was broad support for initiatives that make it easier to open and operate businesses, including streamlined permitting, and you'll kind of hear that throughout this presentation. Business incentives, flexible outdoor dining, food trucks, tourism, marketing, events, vacant storefront revitalization, and historic preservation. Again, what were the zoning and permitting improvements? It was faster permitting, mixed use flexibility, adaptive reuse of historic buildings, and outdoor entertainment were identified as the priorities. These areas are directly connected to future municipal code updates along with potential process improvements. For recurring events, they were strongly supported, especially food and wine events, food truck nights, night markets, artisan markets, theater events like music, cultural events, and family activities. These concepts support the goal of creating a consistent downtown activity rather than relying on occasional larger events. When asked what would encourage longer visits, respondents emphasized dining, entertainment, shopping, evening activity. This reinforced the idea the city should think about the full visitor experience, not just one attraction or business type. Physical improvements along 3rd Street included public gathering spaces, lighting, parking, wayfinding, landscaping, outdoor seating, and gateways These are types of public realm improvements that can support private investment and make downtown more welcoming. So when asked for one change, respondents emphasize merchant coordination, faster permitting, downtown cleanliness, sidewalks, and vacant storefronts. So these comments are useful because they really identify the practical areas where city action or partnership may be a visible difference, will make a visible difference. So on future engagement, the majority of respondents expressed interest in future engagement. This support the idea that tonight is not a one-time discussion, but an ongoing continued outreach, listening session, surveys, and partnership building as a strategy moves forward. Now to go into last night, and our business listening session was intentionally informal. The goal was to listen to owners and stakeholders about what is working, what is challenging, what opportunities they see, and how the city can better support the downtown. This is a visual of kind of our working notes. Apologize that it's terrible handwriting there, but the right kind of summarizes out what the listening session input was. But the strongest themes were communication, vacant buildings, sidewalks, permitting, coordinating events, true tourism, marketing, and the need for the city and merchants to work together. The dots really show where multiple participants agreed with a comment. So there's been several initiatives underway. We'll be coming next week to discuss further mobile food facilities. We'll begin implementing our vacancy registration program next week. So we'll have updates in the next few months on how that's going. And then just continued business outreach. So this is kind of where we have 4 kind of focus areas, and I can pause and we can discuss, or I can kind of go through them and you guys can provide all your comments at the end. It is up to your discretion.
My preference would be to go through it and we can ask questions after. Yeah, everybody okay with that? Okay, carry on.
Perfect. So focus area 1 is really on business support investment. So it includes business outreach, partnerships, technical assistance, entrepreneurship, investment promotion, and potential tools such as the opportunity zone. So staff, I recommended pausing, but we'll just kind of table it and think about if there's specific priorities you want staff to be working on under this focus area. A second focus area is on tourism and visitor experience. So tourism partnerships, events, hospitality, wayfinding, visitor amenities, cultural programming, and strategies that encourage visitors to stay longer and return. So think about what you would like there. Focus area 3 is regulatory improvements and business-friendly processes. So this includes municipal code review, permitting improvements, clearer communication, administrative approvals where appropriate, and better coordination across departments. I highly emphasize really thinking about this particular item because in both the 2 main outreaches we did, this came up as one of the biggest priorities for our businesses and residents, and it is definitely something that staff could take on in-house. And so that is encouraging for your cost analysis on an item. Next one. Focus area 4 is downtown experience in the public realm. And so this really included streetscape improvements, sidewalk signage, public spaces, beautification, accessibility, safety, and support of events and cultural activities. So you can also look at that as well. An additional item for discussion, and this is a separate policy direction item. No formula business ordinance amendments are proposed. Staff's just asking whether council wants to evaluate potential amendments for commercial mixed-use properties outside of the historic downtown and return with analysis and options. So another item to think over tonight. And so what staff would appreciate tonight is direction on a few main items. First, 3 to 5 priorities to guide what we work on future plans. And second, whether staff should evaluate amendments to the formula retail regulations outside of historic downtown. And I just want to say thank you for letting me come up and talk your ear off tonight.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Friels.
No, I see that the permitting process is, still kind of lingering, and I know it was supposed to get better once we had in-house folks, and as far as I know, it's got better. Doesn't seem like people are happy at all about some of the front office type delays, but maybe some explanations why there's some delays, like we only can do so much, or there's legal boundaries or things like that. Instead of that's just the way it is, might help. I see people get frustrated about sign permits and things like that, but there is a process, and maybe a process. I don't know if there's something that shows what the process is. We get the permit, it goes to, planning commission or historic resource board, and then moves on from there type of thing. It's just a little more explanation on the permitting. The rest, it's, it looks like you had a good turnout. How many people took the survey?
It was 23 took the survey, and we had 15 yesterday. It was 10 business owners, one previous business owner, 3 members of the public, and 1 city council. And then the survey was really a mix of residents and business owners being kind of the top 2 that responded.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Morris Lopez.
I think I want to hear more from the public if there is some public. I think at this point, I was the council member there. It was a good meeting. Learned some fun facts about people. And I think it was the right step in the right direction to have that open forum and just kind of have it sort of free form, even though you had some rules. I think the feedback was there. Granted, some of it we've all heard before, but I think it gave them a place to feel comfortable enough to state what their concerns were. And I think it ended on a positive note. So at this juncture, that's all I want to say. Thank you, Ariel. And I was surprised you put that all together after like one night. It's great.
It's been a busy 24 hours.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
Well, thanks for the presentation. Thanks for gathering the feedback. No fault of yours or any of staff's, but it's always a little discouraging to me when we look at the numbers and it's like 12 people answered. I don't know how. I know you guys are always trying, us up here, we are always trying and begging people. Like, there's 3,000 people. 2,000. So it's between 2 and 3. So I always encapsulate all. And so it's hard to try to get and people just don't really do surveys anymore. Maybe if you made some TikTok videos.
That's my next role.
Got 30 seconds. That's all they want. That's all the attention span people have. That's a society we live in. So there's that part of it. I know you guys are just looking and scratching for ways to find things. I did personally receive a couple complaints about our permitting process, and I'm encouraging folks to come in either into the office or come before the council to explain their woes and issues. And I think, to Scott's point, a lot of it is probably around the communication of the whys. And I always get those answers from especially the 2 of you. Maybe that's not 100% transferred to front of house type responses, but something to look at, something to think about. Just trying to hear people when they say things like that. in your presentation, you talked about, or the last slide, you were asking for direction to kind of look over formula retail. We had that conversation a while back, and I thought that this is when John was still on council. After the initial shock of the conversation, I thought we actually had some pretty good
I think we had good conversation.
conversation around it. And it wasn't just like oh my God, we're going to put McDonald's next to Mrs. B's shop type thing. But like after we started really looking at the different options that were there, and I think we just kind of let that die on the vine, and maybe we should look at that again. If there's some tweak, some option that brings in some. No, I'm talking the formula retail. The sphere of influence doesn't impact formula retail outside of our 3rd Street.
Yeah, but we won't be able to expand outside of the city limits unless we do the.
There's places we can put businesses outside. I mean, there's a couple places. And if we opened up some of the formula rules around places outside of 3rd Street, I think that even if it only impacted 1 or 2 businesses, it's 1 or 2 businesses,
Zoning, yeah.
right? Like some zoning, some rule or regulation about like somebody might get interested in putting, I don't know, Mrs. Fields in the gas station, right? I'd buy them. Mrs. Fields is better than Crumble. Just personal opinion there. So I would personally be interested in us having that conversation again and bringing that up. Cookies.
Cookies.
What else?
Just make my own.
So I'd be interested in looking at that again. I think there's something there. And that's all I had.
Thank you. I would also like to see formula business regulations brought back to the council for conversation. And sorry, now that I started that, I'm going backwards in your slide. So number 4, beautification. I think that's huge for our city. When you stand at this end of 3rd Street in the summertime and you look down, I think San Juan's 3rd Street blends right into the hills beyond us. So beautification would be one of the top things on my list to do. Regulatory permitting, and there was something else after that, and I didn't write fast enough. I hear that along with other council members. If we have a schedule on when an application is first brought in, whether it's in person, whether it's by mail, whatever the application is for, if we respond immediately saying, thanks for your application, we'll be reviewing it, we'll give you a call in 6 days or a month, or if it's something that's going on next year, we've received your application, we've stamped it, we have it in-house, but your event's not until next year, so we'll do that then. Or if somebody hands in a building permit for whatever reason, a timely response saying, yeah, we have it, and we have so many days, and I'm sure we have all of that written down, and that it's conveyed to whomever brings in that application. Then it's on the responsibility of the applicant to provide further information, and they have a time period to return with documents or comments or whatever. And I know it's not our responsibility to say, hey, your time's up in 5 days, come back, or we're dropping it. And maybe I don't know what anybody's understanding of that is.
If Mayor, if it's
You
okay,
know,
I
go
can
ahead.
kind of answer. So, so permit streamlining is kind of it's a broad term and it's kind of complex. So that is one aspect. So, under planning, we're under permit streamlining. Act, which requires that we provide a response, whether it's a complete or incomplete application within 30 days. For building permits, we require that there is a 10-day review. I think what we're really discussing here about permit streamlining is our ordinance in general, how some uses require a conditional use permit where they may be able to be something that could be handled administratively, or something that's being administrative could be permitted, but let's update our design guidelines and they just need to follow those design guidelines. So they're just really getting into the building permits, and through that building permit, we're just making sure, okay, they have their landscaping and, pieces like that. And so that's streamlining. So what that does is that reduces the time frame. If something can be handled administratively and doesn't require going to planning commission, the time saved, the cost and expense saved, is really critical for new businesses coming in. And so I think that was kind of what the businesses and the residents were really like trying to hit on. In addition, the communication. So it's not just our internal communication that building is checking with planning and that there's cohesiveness at the front counter, but the way that's then communicated to the public. And especially right now, we're really making sure that processes are being implemented, and so that's a transition. That's a hard transition. And then one of the things that was said yesterday, and it is really a new business like kind of packet. Here's all of the things you really need to be looking at, and so kind of developing some of those different pieces. We've accomplished a lot, but we have more to go. There's some steps that we need to finish if we're really going to be attracting new businesses in.
I so appreciate all of that. Thank you. That's what I think everybody needs to hear, that especially with our new fee schedule, there's a learning curve on both parts. But the city's willingness to work with folks and move us forward. You talked about wayfinding. The county is looking at wayfinding signage to, I think it's more of the major ones than the ones that are within the city limits themselves, but something where it's cohesive, where the entrance to the county is a big, huge redwood sign that says, "Welcome to San Benito County." San Juan and Hollister to follow something similar, doesn't have to be exact, and they're actually not looking at that particular kind of sign, but like "Welcome to Yosemite." It's specific to Yosemite's background. So if you keep that in mind when we're talking about wayfinding stations, that the county, I think it's the tourism group, is looking at things like that. And that's more, again, on a larger scale, to promote each jurisdiction and the county as a whole. And then lastly, can I have the slide deck?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I think it was amazing, and how quick you put that together again from last night was super cool. I love the whole discussion. I was a little nervous about the identify 3 to 5 economic development priorities for staff to focus on, and I'm like racking my brain all weekend in between watching Zootopia 2 and the San Juan Day. But yeah, no, I think that's a great ask of the council. And I'm just thrilled with where we're moving as a city as a whole. And I cannot say enough how much I appreciate our city manager and the team that she has behind her. The next, years to come are, so looking forward to that as a community member in San Juan. So thank you for this first step. Don't go too far. Questions, comments from public? Anybody in chambers have a card in? And you do have 3 minutes. Thank you. Kara or Cara Vonk, welcome.
Thank you, members of the council. Just a couple of comments, especially about the complaints about permitting and all of that. I think it's because people are uninformed. They don't know how to read the municipal code. They don't understand it. And I've been to many historic preservation conferences that are attended by planners, planning staff people. And I do remember in particular one, it was Palo Alto, and I know we're not Palo Alto, but they had an ombudsperson. So somebody can walk up to the counter and say, hey, I'm thinking of opening up a shop on University Avenue. What do I need to do? And this person will walk them through the whole process and hold their hand. Now, I don't think we have the staff to do that, but at least we could put something up on the web, on our web page, or make sure that if somebody is coming in, that there's somebody who can come and talk to them and explain the process. And I think that will take care of a lot of these complaints. It's because people don't understand the process. One of my suggestions is that we identify the types of businesses we would like to have downtown. Now, I saw up on the chart, a lot of people are saying more restaurants. Yes, we only have a few. However, let's see how, okay, my time's fleeting. I was up in Tamales, up in Marin County. I was there on a Monday. They're very similar to San Juan. It's about 3 blocks of commercial. There's a grocery store. It was open and it was packed with people, and they have so many cute shops, you know, kind of the gift designer, but really nice designer things. We should identify these shops and then go out and search for them and give them incentives. Maybe, you know, waiving some of these fees to get them to come here. So that's another suggestion. Formula businesses, that's going to be extremely divisive. And we went through this so many years ago already. I don't know. Let's see if I have anything else to say. I think that's pretty much it for now. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Michael Ponce, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, Michael, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Okay, thank you. So I did attend the meeting last night, at community center. As I'm not a business owner, but as a concerned citizen. And if you look at that board from the notes of the meeting, the number one thing on there under challenges is communication. And a lot of people talked about, a lot of business owners talked about lack of communication with the city. So they talked about developing better communication with the business owner from the city, which I think is good. Another thing that was mentioned about the meeting was not all the businesses in town knew about the meeting. So we need to figure out a way how to get that information out. I think a good way to do it is in water bills. Everybody gets a water bill. You can type a sentence in there and everybody will see it. You don't even have to put a flyer, spend money to build a flyer. Just add, there's plenty of space on your water bill to write something in there. And then one of the council members talked about one of the most important thing that she thought was beautification. And I agree 100% because a clean city will bring back visitors. As a member of the Service Club, we have been trying to help out with beautification of downtown. We do once a month cleanup, and we can only do so much. Our attendance has dropped. In the beginning, we had over 10 people attend, and we were able to hit the whole downtown from Franklin Street, actually from Pierce Street to McCollum and the side streets. And we feel, the Service Club feels that we made a difference. We would hope to somehow find a way to get more people to help, and we can do it. But maybe we can partner, the Service Club and partner with the city, and like say, city take care of 3 or 4 blocks and we take care of the other 3 or 4 blocks, and then it gets done every month. And then a good suggestion last night was for new businesses coming in town, partnership with an existing business to show them the ropes. And I think they talked about it right now. So the existing business can tell the new business, hey, this is what you're going to be up against. You know, you're gonna be hit with sign regulations. You're going to be hit with permits, response time from the city, all the rules. Maybe that will help businesses to decide to come to town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, seeing no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you for that. And thank you all to who participated in all of the outreach and coming here today with suggestions or comments. So our job now is to identify 3 to 5 economic development priorities, provide policy direction regarding whether staff should evaluate amendments to the city's formula business regulation, and to direct staff to return with implementation plans, budget timelines, fiscal analysis, and any required policy or ordinance amendments for the council's selected priorities. So we have asked for the formula business regulations to be brought forth at a meeting near us soon. I didn't really hear any other suggestions on priorities.
Are you going to go back around? Sorry for interrupting, Mayor, just for final discussion or comments?
Sure, as soon as I'm finished with this part.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. Did we vote on bringing back the big box formula for discussion, or is that just?
We haven't voted on anything.
Okay.
This isn't a
Okay.
voting, this is a discussion item. I lost my thought. Thank you. I don't know where I was.
So to bring back agenda items, we need the approval and or will of 2 council members, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Councilmember Friels, questions, comments, concerns? Well, I remember what I was going to say.
No, I just want to, echo what I've been saying for the last 6 years. Clean up the city. Clean it up. It's filthy. And that's one of the concerns also. I'm tired of walking the streets and tripping over weeds and seeing how much debris is in the gutters, and it's frustrating. And thankfully the Service Club's been out there busting their hump and cleaning some of it up, but volunteers shouldn't be doing that when we have a paid public works staff. It's frustrating. We're going into supposedly a super El Nino this year, and they're talking about a bunch of rain. And if somebody doesn't get on our infrastructure right away, especially our curbs and gutters, we're going to have a mess in town. So that's my biggest gripe about, especially downtown, And watching our public works guys just walk past a bunch of weeds with the weed whacker to go do something else. So sorry, I'll get off my soapbox on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Morris Lopez.
Oh, okay. So just my added comment, I think that economic development can mean different things for different people. And I understand that the focus was talking to the business owners, and we had, I think, we had the usual suspects that showed up. I was hoping others would show up, but it's Monday night. Who knows why? But one of the things I think that we have not mentioned and we failed to not mention here, we focus on the renters in those physical spaces. My train of thought is we need to have conversations and meetings with the actual owners of the property, because the renters do not have permission nor the responsibility or the accountability to do any repairs or keeping spaces rented. Like, there are places where there are multiple spaces in one property. And so if there's one or two businesses that are adhering to their business plan, the permit that they pull states that they're going to be open certain hours and they adhere to that. They're reliable, they're accountable, but then they have neighbors that don't show up, or they have vacant spots in that building. So I think having conversations, just like you did with the business owners last night, the renters, with the property owners. There was one there last night that did appear and stressed his concerns, or their concerns, about keeping up their building. But my feeling about that is that when you purchase a building on the 3rd Street and it's a historic building, the paperwork is there, you have to do things to maintain it. There's the historic preservation codes. There should be access to help for those property owners to maintain. And so right now, it would be, we're all talking about how to vet buildings in, but I think businesses in, I think more importantly, along with that, maybe at this juncture, a little bit priority is to find out what your inventory is of vacant historical buildings. And you have the wherewithal as the city of San Juan Bautista via your code enforcement officer and your building inspector to inspect those vacant spots. Because how do we know that they're not even up to code, or they've been in such, vacant state that maybe they're not even, a place where someone can come and rent. So I think you need to know your inventory, what we're dealing with as far as the properties, if they're safe, if they've been vacant for decades now, like a Cutting Horse has been vacant for probably over 20 years, two decades, and then there's other vacant spots. And then also, the conversation with them, besides the physical layout and what needs to be done, if there is anything, ask them what they're charging for rent. Because I heard this weekend when I was walking around, I volunteered as first aid, and there's a shop downtown that has never really been open. And the shop owner was telling me that her last day was Sunday. And I said, oh, she goes, I'm really not doing well. Well, I know that you haven't been open. I didn't tell her that. But the other thing is her rent, she said, is like $1,200. And so I looked around at the space and I'm like, that seems like an awful lot. But anyway, I think, simply put, knowing what your inventory is, the city needs to know, having that conversation with the actual property owners, seeing if it is a space that can be rented, and then talking about what are they charging for rent, because that may be, an obstacle. And then going from there, and then also finding out what is the list of types of businesses that we already have in place. I hear we don't want any more thrift. So we can vet the businesses that we want. I heard someone in the audience, I believe Ms. Caravonk, said that. I mean, having somebody in, maybe city staff, vet businesses, we don't have to just say, okay, there's a permit, let's just allow it. So I think, that would be good business management for the city, to look at those things. But first and foremost, finding out about the physical inventory, talking to those property owners, having conversations with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
I don't have anything further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to add a couple of cents in on things that were already said. Beautification and cleanliness, that's a recurring theme. Councilmember Morris Lopez talked about renters and hours and holding shop owners to those hours. That would be awesome. You also spoke about property owners and their this is a historic downtown, so to maintain the buildings, I'm sure there's local, state, and federal laws on the disrepair of historic buildings. So that would be something to keep in mind too, I think. And then, you know, we talk about the city needs to be more involved. The city needs to do this. The city needs to do that. It's the responsibility of the city to take care of tenants and property owners and buildings and everybody wants help on how to maintain their building, whether it's monetary or whatever. But I think that the property owner themselves, whether it's a building or a piece of property, should have a some responsibility to help with tenant improvements. If we want to get a new restaurant in town or a new shop in town or whatever it is, some buildings might not be, to your point, or might not be habitable. So if a building owner or a property owner would acquiesce to a little bit of tenant improvements, because we have seen with the Casa Rosa, a young couple came in and tried to do tenant improvements on a beautiful old building restaurant, and it ended up being literally a old Western facade where it had to be held up in place because the whole back end was off. And they left it like that. Fortunately, we had somebody with the pockets to improve that piece of property. But I think it's part of owners' responsibility for properties. Some have, like Councilmember Morris Lopez said, have been vacant forever. And folks can't necessarily handle that on their own. Councilmember Morris Lopez also talked about knowing what our inventory is and calling out what we need or don't need. And thrift stores had been mentioned. How many thrift stores could one city afford or keep in business or whatever it is? At one point we were antique rich. At one point we were bar rich. At one point we were restaurant rich. So figuring out what that is awesome. And until we figure out what that is and what we can and cannot support, or what the community will and will not support, I think one of the things that we need to look at is encroachment to the sidewalk. We have far too many businesses that are putting all their wares outside, maybe because their inside is too small, but that limits ADA accessibility. That is not beautification of the city. And that goes in part on what our Third Street master plan is, whether we close off Third Street entirely so people can move outside, so businesses, restaurants can have seating outside. I mean, how amazing would that be? It was great when we had parklets for hospitality, where people were sitting outside and enjoying a beautiful evening in San Juan. I think there's lots of things that we can talk about and throw around all day long. And I appreciate the entire community who has been to all of these meetings and throwing out their suggestions. That's all I have. So go ahead. Were you going to say something? I saw the hand go.
It was sort of half up, half down. I was trying to decide. Just for staff clarity in my brain and how this works, we recognize that all of these things are gigantically important and they're urgent, right? When a lot of things have been deferred for so long, like, everything's important, and like, what do you do? So like, we know these things are huge, and we see you, and we can put them in their right buckets. But I just want, like the order in the staff report: business support and investments 1, tourism, visitor experience 2, regulatory 3, 4, downtown experience, public realm. I think I just need to push a little bit on, I need a top 3. Staff, I want you to go look at regulatory. I want you to look at visitor and tourism experience, and I want you to look at whatever the order of operations is, business and support and investment. I just kind of, if you could please do that, and we can put those programs and projects in their proper bucket, but I need a little bit more clarity on top 3.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia.
For me to give you that clarity and priority, like for you looking through and seeing, reading into the future, what does success look like for you? Which one of those would be at the top of the list for you to execute and be successful with what you're asking for you and your team?
So I would go regulatory, tourism, and business and communication, because communication was the #1 issue. So we have to address that. That's automatic. But we do need to bring people into our downtown, and how we do that by events. That was a huge topic, was, hey, we need to do more things to attract people here, right? We started, we're trying to, we have Dia de los Muertos coming up, right? Like, that attracted a ton of people downtown. What other opportunities? Is it food trucks? Is it, so staff that's already kind of in progress. So we're doing it, but as we just kind of decide, I think the permit streamlining, and so when I said businesses, that's really what I was thinking about. Like, I think that's huge.
Okay.
It's a deferred issue that I don't think we can keep ignoring. People are highly upset about the process, and we've started that to change it, right? We brought staff in-house, but we do need to continue to refine it and continue to teach both internally and externally what the process is.
Yeah, so I would not presume to be able to sit here and tell you what the most important thing is. The best I can do is, if you as the expert tell me I want to focus on these top three things, is for me to turn around and say, yes.
I just need that direction. If what I said made
That's
absolute sense,
fine.
and that's what the council wants, that's what we'll do.
Question?
Go ahead.
So under regulatory, would that include what I brought?
Yes, ma'am.
Meaning that, talking to the owners, the property owners, seeing if they have help, if the property is now in a state of disrepair, that it's not even suitable for a business, because we're talking about filling vacant businesses. How can we do that if we don't know what state their building is in? So that would be
Yes.
under regulatory. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's kind of, two parts of regulatory. There's our ordinances on someone coming in, and then there's this second piece of, what is, this inventory of vacant buildings, and what's going to attract business into vacant buildings, and what other kinds of programming can you look at to incentivize, and, one of the things was the opportunity zones that was in the staff report. So, we could kind of big picture that piece and kind of hit on some of those and bring back saying, and then the permit streamline. So really, it's updating our municipal code, really doing an overhaul of, what are things that could help bring in new businesses, or have a more balanced regulatory approach for new businesses. So looking at that.
Because I see it, I know that we have to have policies written and updating of municipal codes, but I see it from a really simplistic view, that you have empty buildings. You know who their property owners are. You've already, I'm assuming, put out the word, or formally or informally, they know that a vacancy fee is coming their way. So you have a list of those property owners. Instead of waiting till you write a municipal code amendment, you have the opportunity to have the conversation before they get hit with the fee, and you find out exactly what is the state of their property. Because until you know that, you can talk all you want about bringing in a business, but if we don't have the inventory and the adequate inventory of a good sound building space, what is the point?
Agree. I just was trying to identify that they're kind of two different buckets, two different priorities, both
Yeah.
important.
I would think that personally, looking at the buildings and talking to the property owners is a priority. If you have to look at the regulatory bucket, and we did have a property owner last night that just flat out told us, look, I'm not going to pay to fix my roof. I'm going to pass that on for someone else. So that to me translates into that roof is going to be further in just repair. Then you've got a vacant building at the gateway of our town with a collapsing roof.
Understood. It's very clear, but we need to know what the inventory is, what the status is.
Thank you for those comments. So what were they? Regulatory, tourism, and what was the third? Business support? And all of that will then trickle down to the downtown experience. And I don't think you could have said it any better than in the executive summary that the city's long-term economic health depends on a vibrant, historic downtown. A successful downtown attracts visitors, supports local businesses, creates jobs, increases sales tax revenue, and reinforces San Juan Bautista's identity as a historic designation. It was absolutely beautiful. Okay, what else do you need from us? Those are our top three.
I think I'm pretty clear. Are you good, Ariel?
Yes, so regulatory business support, tourism under regulatory, really focusing on our vacant buildings, and our vacancy registration.
Yes. And can I just real quick add before we wrap it up?
Sure.
I'd super like to thank Matt Herta for staying, because I
I see him
It's
still
very-
sitting there. I'm
he's-
going,
he's-
yay for us.
he's taking copious notes. And I want to say that it's been a pleasure working with Matt and MBEP, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to partner closer and to get as much support as we can.
I absolutely agree with that. We had a relationship at one point. Matt and I have had many conversations on housing, among other things, and it's nice to actually re-engage. Thank you. Go ahead.
My only comment is you were talking about the focus on the regulatory thing. Whatever it is you meant when you said regulatory as a top one, that whatever that bucket is, to me that's the bucket of focus. When you sorry, you enumerated what that was, and I am not going to attempt to regurgitate that.
I'm also not going to repeat it for you. I'm so sorry.
Nice.
But what I will say
Back on the,
is I agree. I understand the direction. I also understood very, very clearly what Councilmember Morris Lopez was saying. I understand order of operations. And we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So
and I appreciate that. And I'm sure the whole entire council does. It's amazing on where we are today. Thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. It's all the way. Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia, seconded by Councilmember Friels. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Friels?
Yes.
Councilmember Morris Lopez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabathia?
Yes.
Mayor Jordan?
Yes. Thank you very much. I'd give you a time, but I don't see it. 7:53.